Once upon a time there was a mother pig and her 3 piglets. 3 brothers are the same height. Round, pink, with the same funny tails. All summer the pigs played in the green grass, basked in the sun, basked in the puddles. But then autumn came. One day my mother said that it was time for them to think about winter. She asked them to build a big house. The younger brother said that winter is still far away. The middle brother said that he would build his own house when needed. And the older brother decided to build the house himself. The younger and middle brothers did nothing but play their games. It got colder and colder every day. The younger brother decided to build a house out of straw. The middle brother thought it would be very cold in the thatched house in winter. He decided to build a house from twigs and twigs. By the evening their housing was ready. They were very proud of themselves and could not get enough of their buildings. Now they were free and could do whatever they wanted. They decided to go to their older brother and see what kind of house he had built for himself. The older brother was busy building. He applied stones, kneaded clay and slowly built himself a reliable, durable home. The younger brothers found their older brother at work. They were very surprised at what kind of fortress he was building. The elder brother calmly continued to work. The younger and middle brothers began to joke and laugh at his house. They were so amused that their screeching echoed far across the lawn. The elder brother asked to be quiet, because the wolf could hear them. The younger and middle brothers were amused even more. They decided that the older brother was just a coward. And the 2 brave brothers went for a walk. On the way, they sang and danced, and when they entered the forest, they made such a noise that they woke up the wolf who was sleeping under the pine tree. The disgruntled and hungry wolf went to the place where the screeching of 2 stupid pigs came from. The brothers walked merrily and talked about how easily they would deal with the wolf. And suddenly they saw a real living wolf. He was standing behind a large tree. He had very evil eyes and a huge toothy mouth. The brothers were so frightened that their thin tails trembled finely. The wolf prepared to jump. He snapped his teeth and blinked his right eye. The pigs suddenly came to their senses and, screeching across the forest, rushed to run away. Raising clouds of dust, they rushed each to his own house. The younger brother ran to his thatched hut and slammed the door in front of the wolf. The wolf growled and demanded to open the door. The younger brother, out of fear, could not utter a word. Then the wolf began to blow. The light roof instantly flew off the thatched hut. The wolf took a deep breath and blew a second time, and the thatch house flew in all directions. The wolf was delighted, snapped his teeth, and pounced on his younger brother. But the pig deftly dodged and ran. He ran to the house of the middle brother. The brothers managed to lock themselves up and looked at each other in dismay. The wolf got angry and began to blow. The house is slightly askew. The wolf blew a second, then a third, then a fourth time. But the house was still standing. The wolf took a deep breath and blew for the 5th time. The house shook and fell apart. Only one door stood for some time in the middle of the ruins. In horror, the piglets rushed to the house of their elder brother. The wolf ran after them. He was sure that this time the pigs would not run away from him. The piglets quickly rushed past the large apple tree without even hitting it. And the wolf did not have time to turn and hit the apple tree, which covered him with apples. One hard apple hit him between the eyes. A big bump jumped on the wolf's forehead. At this time, the younger and middle brothers managed to run into the house of the older brother and bolt the door. The wolf ran to the door, growled and demanded to open the door. The younger brothers were very scared and could not say anything in return. And the elder brother knew that he and his brothers had nothing to fear in a solid stone house. Then the wolf sucked in more air and blew as soon as he could. But no matter how much it blew, not a single stone moved. And then he looked up and noticed a large, wide chimney on the roof. He carefully climbed onto the roof and began to go down the pipe. The pigs heard a rustle. The elder brother immediately guessed what was the matter. He quickly rushed to the cauldron in which water was boiling and tore off the lid. The wolf went down the pipe and fell straight into the cauldron. His eyes widened to his forehead. The scalded wolf flew out with a wild roar and rushed into the forest. And the three little pigs looked after him and were glad that they had so cleverly taught the evil robber a lesson. From that time on, the brothers and their mother began to live together under one roof. A long time ago, in a small kingdom, there lived a king who loved to dress up more than anything else. He could spend whole days in the dressing room, showing off in front of the mirror in new dresses. So, for every occasion of life, whether it be a trip to the theater or just breakfast, the king had prepared the best fabrics and robes. And then one day two swindlers arrived in the kingdom. On the streets of the capital, they heard about a king who loves to dress up. And then a cunning plan ripened in the heads of the deceivers. They decided to pass themselves off as weavers capable of making a wonderful fabric, better than which nothing could be imagined. And so that the king would definitely pay attention to them, the scammers spread a rumor that their fabric had magical properties. It is completely invisible to those who are impenetrably stupid. When the monarch heard about the incredible weavers who appeared in his kingdom, he was very happy. After all, at last he had the opportunity to understand which of the royal advisors and subjects is stupid. The next day, the king summoned the weavers, showered them with gold and ordered him to sew the best dress from magic fabrics and gold threads. Then the deceivers took all the valuable materials, took the gold and set to work. They sat down at the empty royal machines and began to pretend that they were sewing a magic dress for the king. The rumor about the outlandish fabric spread throughout the kingdom, and everyone wanted to see it. The king himself was no exception. He really wanted to take a look at the dress, but he was afraid that he would be stupid and simply would not see the fabric. And so the monarch decided to send his wisest advisor to them, the most intelligent and honest among all.
Oh yeah!
When the old advisor came to the workshop, he saw how the deceivers were working behind empty machines. They lifted up a non-existent dress, straightened invisible folds, and extolled fake designs. Then the counselor, frightened that he would seem a fool, pretended to see the dress too. Returning to the kingdom, the old man did not find the strength to admit that he had not seen anything. Therefore, he reported to the king that the fabric was magnificent. The minister followed the advisor to the weavers. He looked at the empty machines in the same way, and was afraid that he was actually stupid and unworthy of his place.
Oh no!
So the minister went back to the king and praised the fabric even more than the counselor did. Finally, the king decided to admire the curiosity himself, until it was removed from the machine. He came to the weavers with a whole retinue of courtiers. But neither the monarch nor the advisors saw the dress. However, each of them began to admire the outfit, imagining that everyone else was actually seeing the fabric. Satisfied with the result, the king awarded the cunning Knight's Cross and granted them the title of court weavers. And then the day came when you could put on a new outfit. The rogue weavers volunteered to assemble the king themselves. They dressed the ruler in non-existent trousers, then a camisole, and an invisible kaftan. And all the nobility who watched the process only said how beautiful the costume was, and how it went to the king. Finally the monarch went out into the street. The subjects had already gathered around, hoping to see the magnificent attire of the king. However, none of those who came did not admit that they saw nothing. When suddenly a little boy appeared from the crowd and exclaimed that the king was naked. The crowd picked up these words, and everyone around began to laugh at the ruler. The monarch realized that he had been deceived, but continued his march, as befits a king. And his retinue still supported the mantle, which in fact did not exist.